Hello, and welcome to The Australian. My name is Chuy Montemayor.
And I'm Luisa Ordaz.
Today, as a special feature, we will be doing a newscast covering all of the most important Aussie events from February to May. Let's go to Anilu.
Thank you, Chuy. Now, on February the 2nd, the ferry MV Ravel Queen sank on Papua New Guinea. More than 1,000 people are still missing for this tragic event. The official number of survivors was 350, but only 238 have been found, including the ship's crew. Rescue workers are still pressing their search in hopes of finding those all missing. The cause of the sinking is still unknown. However, there was bad weather and high winds that day.
Another big news event in February was the bail granted to Mega Upload founder Kim.com on February 22nd. Kim.com faced one of the biggest copyright infringement cases in U.S. history, more than $500 million in lost revenue for copyright holders. He was previously considered a flight risk in New Zealand. However, all his funds were seized, reducing or diminishing threat. .com site Mega Upload made millions by sharing pirate copies of movies, music, and other media. Kim.com denies charges of internet piracy and money laundering, fights extradition to the US, and expects house arrest. Now on to the next studio with Van Cornish.
Thank you, Chuy. And now, heading on to Celebrity Spot Watch. Famous actress Lucy Lawless was arrested February 26 for protesting along with 5 others aboard an oil drilling ship in New Zealand. The 6 people climbed to a tower in an attempt to raise awareness about the environmental problems caused by drilling in the Arctic and when they were arrested after protesting for 4 days. Thank you. Now back to you, Chuy.
Thank you, Ivan.
Now moving on to March, we have the event of Australia's Prime Minister, Julia Gillard, naming Bob Carr as Foreign Minister in place of Kevin Rudd. Mr. Rudd resigned after having a fight with Ms. Gillard. The offer was made earlier that week, but then withdrawn, following resistance from other Labour ministers. This was Gillard's second reshuffle since December. Now back to you, Ivan.
Thank you, Anilu. And now, focusing on a controversial change made on March 6 in Australia. New South Wales decided to pass a new law that allows government officials to look under religious veils. This law was placed after a case last year when a woman falsely claimed that a traffic official tried to remove her face covering to interview her. This law is also being considered in Victoria and Western Australia. We'll keep you posted. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Equally controversial was the news about Australia's military facing inquiries concerning years of abuse. Allegations of physical, sexual, and emotional abuse were made, following an initial review by a legal firm. Lawyers looked into more than 1,000 claims of mistreatments made by military staff and found 775 plausible allegations of abuse. It was recommended to make a compensation scheme, an apology to victims, and a Royal Commission investigation. Now let's move to Gabriel and Miranda for the April and May news on our research team.
Thank you, Anilu. First, we will start with New Zealand, where the Waikato River, which is the main source of fresh water for the country, is getting poisoned. Nitrogen and phosphorus levels are above normal. Consequently, 3 of the 17 rivers in New Zealand are in poor condition. The cause of this disastrous event is agricultural intensification, which causes a change of elemental composition in the soil, which eventually ends up in water sources. This is due to the materials inside fertilizers, which are created to make the best environment for the plant, disregarding its surroundings. Also in New Zealand, an elephant that was psychologically damaged due to extended captivity inside of a trailer fatally crushed its keeper at Franklin Zoo after being released from its relocation crate on April 26. Mr. Radcliffe, the elephant's previous owner, said that the elephant was being treated incorrectly, and that is why he killed the man trying to lead the elephant out of its crate. Now back to you, Miranda.
In the economic sector, Australia promised budget surplus by the end of 2012 and 2013, becoming one of the first developed nations to recover from the 2008 financial crisis. According to the governing Labour Party, the money will be aimed at supporting lower-income families. About 33 billion Australian dollars will be distributed to families, plus new tax payments to households and small business tax breaks. The demand of Australian iron ore, in addition to other natural resources, predicted to boost growth to 3.25% next year. Also this month, the British American Tobacco Australia Company has launched a new brand with cheaper prices. The tobacco industry has become extremely competitive, This is why Beta has been forced to reduce the cost of its cigarettes to almost illegal prices. This highlights the problem of increasing cigarette smokers in Australia. Usually, when the taxes on tobacco increase, the consumption decreases. However, this is not the case. People are now opting for illegal cigarettes instead, yet another reason why Beta had to lower its prices.
And with that, we conclude the Australian newscast. Thank you and see you next week.